Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of this newsletter is going to be staying centered, peaceful, and certain. Well, I've got 3 emails I'm going to go through with you today, and they're really good situations because these guys are allowing circumstances of their lives to negatively impact their relationships and how they're showing up, and this puts them into a fearful state, and it just creates a whole host of problems for them. But before we get into it, I got a quote that I want to share with you, and it says, "No matter what is going on in your life, you should not lose your feeling of inner peace and optimism about your future. When we allow the circumstances of our lives to uncenter us or diminish us in any way by assigning negative meanings to the circumstances of our lives, this will negatively impact our happiness, finances, business, relationships, friendships, and our overall quality of life. The only thing we have control over in life is the meanings that we give to the events and circumstances of our lives. If we allow ourselves to become uncentered and fearful, many things we hold dear in our lives will unravel quickly and create even greater chaos and fear." As you probably heard me say many times, what you fear, you attract, but what you look at disappears. And one of the things that will really help you remain centered and look at the things that scare you or that you're fearful of and do the right thing, obviously, is reading my book 10 to 15 times. And several of these guys here, I'm going to go through their emails, that's part of their problem, is they don't know the book. They started out, they read it one time, they go, "Hey, I got this shit, and I don't need to read it anymore." And then they just make a whole host of mistakes, because it's just impossible to only read something one time and think that you've got it or substitute just the videos. You have to learn the fundamentals. Otherwise, you're making things way harder on yourself than they need to be. And for those of you that haven't read my book yet, you can download the Kindle version under 60 seconds or less, or get the paperback version by going to my website. Underneath the email sign-up box, there is an image of my book, and if you click on that, it'll take you right to Amazon.com, and you can either order the paperback version or get a Kindle version for yourself. So let's jump into the first guy's email. He says, "Hey Corey, I've been dating this girl for about 10 months. We wait tables together, and in October she got a second job. During the holidays we were crazy busy, but we were together 5 times a week. Even though the sex was great, we both went on autopilot." In other words, you became lazy and complacent. And I thought, hey, I got this shit. She loves me, she cares about me, and that's never going to change. And when guys get in that state, they usually stop doing the things that made them successful in the beginning, which is the courtship goes right out the window. They just basically do the same routine. They get together to have pizza and beer, and they fuck on the weekends. Something similar to that. Or they do the same date. They go to the same restaurant every week. They do the same things over and over. And the woman even gets to the point where she knows when you're going to make the move on her to have sex. How do I know? I learned that the hard way. I had girlfriends who were like, "I always know what's going to happen." Women don't like it. They like mystery. They like romance. They like a guy who invests time in planning cool dates. They don't have to be extravagant, but you don't want to just do the same fucking thing every week. He says, "In the past few months, she's become increasingly bitchy. When women become bitchy when they're dating, it's because the guy is acting weak and not acting like the leader. He says, and I believe it's because she doesn't have time to do the things that she loves, yoga and running. That may contribute to it, but at the end of the day, if you're acting weak, your woman is going to act bitchy. Because what she's trying to do is challenge you to step up and be a more centered man, to be more masculine, to be a leader." He says, "And because I've become insecure, sexually anxious, like erectile dysfunction," what was I just saying a second ago? "I've become insecure, sexually anxious, passive, needy, and always with her rather than seeing my friends and doing my own thing." So in other words, you become completely uncentered. You're not acting like the man that she fell for when you first started dating. That's a problem. That's why she's acting bitchy. It's not because of the yoga and these other things. I mean, sure, that may contribute to her overall happiness, but the real reason she's acting bitchy is because you're acting fucking weak. He says, "During Mardi Gras, I saw signs of distance, less sex, or she would deny me completely. Yeah, she doesn't trust your masculine core. She's not going to be as interested in sex." He says, "We were together for multiple nights at her house, and we got into a couple of fights, and I'd yell back at her instead of being firm and calm like I used to. She told me she planned to break up with me one night, but didn't because some days she wants to quit and other days she wants to work it out." So what happened was you went from hanging out, having fun, and hooking up to it being you acting weak, and then you're getting pissed off and arguing with her. All the fun went away. The whole reason why she fell for you in the first place, you stopped being that guy. Another big thing a lot of guys do, they get into a relationship and they ditch all their friends. They stop focusing on their purpose and their mission in life. They stop going to the gym. They think, hey, I got this girl. I don't have to do any of that stuff. She ain't going anywhere. We got a 30-year mortgage. Doesn't work that way. You got to be consistent. Because a man's purpose needs to be paramount in his life. That's what embodies masculine energy. That is something that makes men very sexy and attractive to women. And when you just chuck all that shit out the window, you're no longer acting like a man. Instead, you go from acting like a man to acting like a little boy who's following her around, like trying to treat her like his mommy. He says, I told her I love her and that it was her decision, that if she wanted to end it, I'll respect that. Why do guys always say, I'll respect your decision if you decide to end it? Fuck that shit, dude. Why even bring that up? He says, she said she needed space and a break, and I felt like complete shit because I love and adore this girl. I proceeded with no contact, and 3 days later she texted me at 1 a.m. and did this a few more times through the week, asking what I was doing. One night I went to the same bar not knowing she'd be there, and we hung out for the first time in 4 days. We had fun, we laughed, and when I walked her to the car, she surprisingly kissed me. That tells me that you're a little clueless. You don't know the book. Hang out, have fun, and hook up. Instead, you're hanging out, you're having fun, and you're waiting for her to be the man in the relationship. What happened to the guy that you were when you first started dating? Where did he go? Now, like I said, you're following her around, trying to treat her like your mommy. He says we hung out 2 nights after work at the bar, but no kiss. It's like, sounds like you're sitting around waiting for her to kiss you and to make the move and to initiate sex and all those things. He says the following week, and this is what happens when a guy just watches a few of my videos. He thinks I just back off. I don't have to do anything. And they wait for her to become the aggressor. You'll never get anywhere doing that. He says the following week, she called me because her car broke down and asked for my help. I brought her home. She thanked me and gave me a nice long kiss. She continued to text me that night while she was at dinner with her friends. When women reach out to you, you should assume they want to see you. And you make a date. You hang out, you have fun, and hook up. This is what you were doing in the beginning. And now you've stopped that. You backed off, but then when she reaches out, then you hang around like a friend. You're not really being the leader or the lover, creating a fun-filled romantic opportunity for sex to happen, which, after all, that's what a date is anyways. He says, a few days later, we went to the bar, we had fun, and I asked if she wanted to come over, and she said maybe, but eventually we went home. She went home, but kissed me before she left. This week she called me after she got off work to meet at the bar for a drink. She was smiling, looking in my eyes, giving me body language towards me, touching my arm, laughing, teasing, etc. And look what he says. I didn't capitalize early on and kiss her, but we did later, though it was a quick peck. That's why you got to have your sensory acuity developed. And this comes from knowing what I teach in the book, because it's obviously still vague and unclear in your mind, and she's showing you all the signs to escalate physical touching. You start making out and say, hey, let's get out and go back to my place. I got a bottle of champagne. I can pour it all over your body and have fun later. He says the bartender told me that she said she was surprised how well I was taking the break. So she dumped you. Nice. She expected me to be whiny and clingy, and he told her that I was doing great and having fun. And I constantly think about her and want her back. What do you think about this situation? Well, the problem is you don't know the book. She's giving you signs to make a physical move, and then you're just kind of standing around going, what do I do, Mommy? Tell me what to do, Mommy, please. It's like, come on, dude. You know what to do. You did this in the beginning. You got to hang out, have fun, and hook up. You got to be the leader. This is what some guys do. It's like you went from being too aggressive, too needy, too pursuing, to not pursuing enough, to basically sitting around waiting on her to be the man. Women want you to be more of a man than they are. He says, and how do I get back to this state of not making her my main source of happiness? He says, this is what made her fall in love with me. Well, what were you doing before her? You probably had a life full of friends. You were probably taking better care of yourself, going to the gym, those kinds of things. Working out, staying in shape. You had dreams, you had goals, you had ambition. You got to get back to doing those things. Those things should never stop, no matter what's going on in your personal life. That's what embodies a man. But guys start dating a woman and all this shit goes by the wayside. I remember in my early 20s, I had lots of friends that were like that. As soon as they get a girlfriend, they disappear. They stop going to the gym. They stop working out. They start blowing off school just to hang out with a girl. And then 6 months later, they find out that she's screwing some other guy who's actually acting like a man. And then, of course, he wants to start hanging out with all of us again because he's got nothing going on because now a girl doesn't want to hang out. Don't do that. No matter, you got to be a happy, whole, complete person. You got to have your shit together. A woman is a compliment to your life, a compliment to your already great, interesting, fascinating, and exciting life. You don't make her the source of your happiness or your purpose in life, because as soon as you do, you're quickly going to get dumped. But what you need to do in this situation is when she reaches out, make a date. In this particular case, she dumped you. And when I teach in my book, if you actually would have read it instead of just watching a few videos, you would know that when a woman reaches out, you should say, hey, I'd love to see you, honey, when you're free to get together. Great, why don't you grab a bottle of wine and come on over to my place and we'll make dinner together. Hang out, have fun, and hook up at your place. That's what you do when a woman dumps you. You walk and you never look back. And then when she reaches out to you after the fact, then you just make a date at your place. Now, why do you do that? Because you're not going to go out of your way for her. Because she blew you off like you meant nothing to her. Therefore, you want to see her earn you back. And her being flexible enough to want to hang out and spend time with you at your place, you can create an opportunity for sex to happen right at your place. Instead of waiting around for her to be the leader and tell you when it's okay. Read the book. Read the book, read the book, read the book. And by the way, read the book. Let's get into the second guy's email. He says, hey, Coach, I've been talking to this girl since late November. We met on Tinder and met up and we hit everything off. We've been on dates and have been having sexual intercourse and whatnot. Everything has been going great, and I thought we were doing great. Most guys usually do. And at one point, I was getting annoyed with her being clingy, so I did my own thing, and she wanted me more. But it wasn't until one day where she told me she doesn't know where we're at, and she doesn't want to get attached and doesn't want a relationship right now. Well, when women bring up that talk, that's usually because the guy is starting to over-pursue, and he's starting to become clingy and needy. He says, I was upset, and she could see that and felt really bad. After that, I tried my hardest to win her approval of being a worthy boyfriend and paid for expensive dinners and bought her a birthday present she had been wanting. So you stopped being the interesting and mysterious guy that she met and started acting like every schmuck in every fucking movie and TV show that is on all the time. You thought you had to prove yourself to her. In other words, the very act of trying to prove yourself to a woman and bribe her for sex with expensive dinners is constantly trying to make up for what you feel you lack inside by doing expensive dinners or silly, extravagant dates. Chasing her, begging her, pleading with her. It's like a guy that does that has no self-respect. If you don't respect yourself enough, a woman's going to quickly lose respect for you as well. And if a woman loses respect for you, she will fall out of love with you. And if you're just simply dating, she'll never fall in love with you. He says, we still had things going on after that, and she told me that she was giving in to me being her boyfriend. She even told me if I was going to take her to my formal and whatnot. Then spring break came, and she was in Cancun, and I became worried since we hadn't spoken in a week. I got too attached to her, and she basically said that we were not boyfriend and girlfriend, and I'm acting like we're dating by the constant texts and asking her to hang out, me buying her dinner and everything. Yeah, the power had totally flipped at that point. You became the woman. You became the pursuer. And you over-pursued her and talked her out of liking you. You're completely violating the fundamentals that I teach in my book. And you're obviously still doing these things because you're writing to me and you're paying me to answer this email, which I'm nice enough to also do in a video to really give you a good answer. But the bottom line is you got to learn the fundamentals. And since you don't learn the fundamentals, you're still making mistakes that are driving her away. He says she basically said that she just wants to be strictly platonic friends. Boom. There it is. There is the rub. And then he says, and I agreed and basically didn't text her. Why would you agree to being friends when that's not what you want, dude? It's a bad way to go. She friend zoned you, you said okay, and deep down you're thinking, well, I'll be friends and eventually she'll want me back. Whenever a woman says friends, you say, I am not interested in that. I adore you. I have romantic interest in you, but I'm not interested in just strictly being platonic friends. That doesn't work for me. If you change your mind, give me a call. But otherwise, it's been great. I've really enjoyed our time together. I got to go. Talk to you later. And that's it. And then you walk and never look back. He says, I didn't text her at all, but she kept initiating Snapchats to me, and I answered back. And then recently, she initiated the first text saying, how have I been? And I answered back, but hours later, seeming like everything is fine. It wasn't until today that I took your advice and tried to do the mean it and walk away method, but it backfired. I stayed on the phone too long and fucked up. The phone is for setting dates. You can't violate the fundamentals that are in the book and expect to be successful. She's still going to the formal with me, but what do I do? She had a relationship in the summer in which she broke up with the guy, but I don't know what happened. I need help. We were so intimate, and she said I was the best sex she's ever had. She's playing mind games with me. It's not that she's playing mind games, dude. You're enabling her behavior by constantly acting weak. One moment you act like you want to date her, and the next moment you act like you're an emotional tampon. What do you expect? You act like a fucking woman half the time. You're not going to get anywhere. You don't ever agree to be friends, especially, she knows that you don't want to just be friends, but you're doing it because you're afraid to lose her. And you're afraid to implement the things that I'm teaching, and you're not doing it. You're violating the principles, so you're stuck in friend zone. What I would do is nothing. Wait to hear from her. When you do hear from her, make a date and invite her to come over to your place. Tell her to grab a bottle of wine and come on over, and you can hang out and have fun and hook up at your place. Make dinner together. Do exactly what I talk about in the book. It will work. But if you don't learn the fundamentals, I can't help you. Because you know little bits and pieces here, but you still don't know enough to be successful, and you're not employing the proper methods. Whenever a woman friend zone you, you walk away and you never look back, and you tell her to call you if she changes her mind. And if she does call you, you assume she has changed her mind, and you make a date. But since she friend zoned you, you're not going to really invest that much effort because you want to see her make the effort to be flexible and come over to your place and make dinner together. And that way you can hang out, have fun, and hook up and have that great sex again that you're looking for. But when she mentions friendship, you got to have the balls to walk away from it and stand up for yourself and what you want. Because if you don't stand up for yourself and what you want, you're going to get what you've been getting, which is nothing. And you're kind of stuck in friend zone limbo. So let's get into the third and final email. This guy says, hey, coach, I need your help. I've been dating this girl for about 5 months now, and we knew each other for at least 1 year. And during this time, we went out several times and had a blast. I even slept over at her house. At first, I didn't make a move because she was in a relationship, but then I noticed the strong connection that we had and went for the kiss, but she rejected me and told me that she liked me, but she respected her boyfriend. Well, it sounds like a good girl. A good girl, that's what she would say and do. If the connection's there, she would acknowledge it but say, hey, I'm in a relationship. He says, I told her that I wanted more than that and I couldn't be only her friend because it wasn't fair for any of us, and I stopped contacting her. Good for you, dude. You had a fucking set of balls. Very good job. He says, and you got to stand up for what you want. And not only in your relationships, but in life. If you're trying to negotiate for a salary, for a job that you want, or a career, or a business partnership, you got to be willing to walk when people, because the strongest negotiating position is being able to walk away and mean it. When someone gives you something that's less than what you feel you deserve and what you really want, you got to be willing to walk away and say, this doesn't work for me, but hey, call me if you change your mind. He said after about 2 months of that, she ended her 1-year relationship and we started dating. Everything was going well, and we even had sex on our second date, and our connection was getting stronger. Well, most women sleep with a guy by the second or third date. That's just statistically the way it is. It's just a natural thing. It's a natural evolution of things. He says she would call me and text me on a daily basis telling me how she missed me and couldn't wait to see me. She had a very high level of attraction at that point. And the reason being is that you walked away. You said, I can't just be your friend, but hey, let me know if it doesn't work out with a boyfriend. And what happened? She did. He says she also would stay over at my place on the weekends, and I will also stay at her place. I tried to control my feelings like you teach and be patient, but I think I just lost control, and I started doing about 60% of the chasing, talked on the phone daily, and I also made dates with her, and I saw her at least 2 to 3 times a week. We spent Christmas and New Year's together. I met her family and she met mine. About 2 months of dating, and we took trips, one to Canada and another one to South America. I noticed that she became a little cold and less affectionate. This is what happens. When the guy's doing 60% of the pursuing, it is too much. You're going to get rejected when that happens. I asked her what was wrong, and she told me that she felt that we were going too fast and that she wanted to stop having sex with me because she wasn't emotionally ready. You must love in such a way that the person you love feels free. This is what happens when you over pursue and you start acting like a woman. It causes her to not trust your masculine core. And she's using the excuse, oh, she's not emotionally ready. She fucked you on the second date. Hello? That's the excuse that she gives you. What she's really trying to say is, dude, you're fucking turning me off with your bitch-like behavior. I'm sorry, but as a man, as a coach, my job is to call you out and tell you exactly where you're going wrong. I'm not here to blow sunshine up your ass. I'm here to give you a dose of reality so you can take corrective action before it's too late. He says, I tried to understand her and told her that I care about her a lot and I would wait until she was ready. Now you're basically, with that statement, agreeing to only be friends. You don't really want to wait, but you don't know what else to do because you don't know the book, so therefore that's what you say. The way I would handle it, I would say, I understand you're not ready for a relationship and we can slow things down a little bit, but I'm not interested in going and having something platonic with you. I mean, we've been having great sex for a couple of months now. You got to stand up for what you want, dude. You're going to say, I adore you. I can't be around you and not be able to touch you. It's like, that's ridiculous. You're pulling away from me. You're not investing the same level of effort in our relationship, and that's unacceptable. You either want to be with me or you don't. And if you're not willing to make the effort, I'm not interested. I deserve to have somebody that wants to make the effort. You got to stand up for yourself. You got to communicate these things. You don't just lay down like a doormat and let a girl walk all over you and just be Mr. Compliant. There's two people involved in this relationship. It's not all about her and her needs. What she's really doing is she's challenging you to stand up for yourself. And you're just going, okay, I guess I'll go along with just being friends and have a platonic relationship. But maybe later on you really start liking me again. What she's doing is she's breaking up with you without officially having a breakup. He says, I tried again to control my feelings and regain the leadership role in the relationship by being positive and focusing on having fun. We took a 2-week trip to South America. We had fun and we started to have sex again, and I thought that she was falling for me this time. That's the problem. You're focused on it. Instead of just hanging out, having fun, and hooking up, you're trying to lock her down to a commitment and a relationship. And it always is going to go south when you do that. This girl, when she's with you, she feels like she's going to lose her freedom. Because you're not with her as an equal. You're looking to possess her and control her. No man or woman is going to like that in any relationship. And they're going to bolt. He says, after our trip was over, she became distant and cold again. And I started falling into a deep, fearful state. I really thought I was losing her and thought that she was flirting with other people. I was so fearful that I even checked her phone, since I know her password and she knows mine. I found some texts with other guys where she was flirting, and I believe she even went on dates. That's a deal breaker. This is not the kind of girl that you can have a good, healthy relationship with. But what you got to look at is that she stuck you in friend zone. That's the real reason why she said she wanted to stop having sex with you, is because in her mind, if she stops having sex with you and says to slow things down, what she's really doing is going and exploring things with other guys. So therefore, in her mind, you see how women's mind work in this particular case, she's free to sleep with whoever she wants because she's no longer having sex with you in her mind, even though you hooked up on a trip. You were just kind of casually hooking up. You were just one of the several guys that she was dating. So when she's committed to a guy, she's pretty loyal. But when the future is in doubt, all's fair in her eyes. And therefore, she can kind of keep you on the hook and kind of keep you out here in left field while she explores things with other dudes. He says, I felt devastated but I tried to not show it. I couldn't take it anymore. I asked her why she was being distant. She told me that we already talked about this, and she just wants to go slow because she's been in long relationships before, and she needed time for herself. In other words, I need time to date other guys and figure things out to see if I really want to date other dudes or you. He says, I told her that if she wanted to date other people or if she wasn't happy with me to let me know. And she said that she cares about me a lot and likes spending time with me, but that it would hurt her very much if I dated other girls and that she wasn't talking to other guys. That is a big shitburger sandwich because, I mean, you checked her phone, so you know that's bullshit. So he says she also mentioned that she feels selfish because, in other words, she feels guilty about lying to you because she knows that I am ready for a relationship, but she is not. I told her I cared a lot and that she was special to me and basically that I was willing to keep dating her and see where things go. I'm trying to control my feelings, but it's really hard to since she texts me and calls me regularly. I really like this girl, Corey, but I feel like she's losing interest in me. I also can't trust her after she lied to me. She's just a fuck buddy, dude. This is not the kind of woman that you have an exclusive relationship with. Because she's blowing sunshine up your ass and probably doing the same thing to these other guys. And while I think this was the same girl that initially in the beginning said that, oh yeah, she was in a relationship. So if she's really committed to a guy, she's committed to a guy. But when the relationship future's in doubt, that shit don't matter. She's happy to lead you on and make you think that there's nothing else going on. So in other words, what she's saying, I don't want you dating other girls, but I'm going to go and date these other guys and see what happens. That's lack of integrity. He says, how can I make her fall in love with me and start a formal relationship? Well, number one, stop focusing on that. Get back to just focusing on hanging out, having fun, and hooking up. I wouldn't call her, I wouldn't text her, I wouldn't do anything. I would start dating other girls because she's obviously dating other guys, and you know about it because you saw it on her phone. And she's lying to you about it. She's a sex playmate. She's a fuck buddy, and that's it, dude. You are delusional if you think you can have a healthy relationship with a woman like this. Because when things are in doubt, these guys, she's going to start calling him and texting him and hanging out as just friends, supposedly. That's a bad way to go. But like I said, sex playmate only. Wait to hear from her, and when you do hear from her, make a date. But if I were you, I would definitely start dating other women. If you want a girlfriend, a good girl's not going to act this way because this is why you date. This is why you date people before you get married or decide to have children, because the true nature of how they really are comes out. And this woman, after just a couple of months, she's lying to you and she's deceiving you. She's going out with other guys. She's telling you that she's not, even though you know that she is. And she's saying, oh, I don't want you dating anybody else. It would really bother me. It's like, come on, man. Fuck that shit. You deserve better than that. But like I said, she's not your relationship material. She's a great fuck buddy, great sex playmate, great casual hookup. But other than that, that's it. And if you think you're going to be different, you're delusional. I mean, look how she's treated you. Because already you don't trust her. And that ain't going to go away because you know she lied to you once. And so this is just the type of person she is. In order to prevent drama, what is she going to do? She's going to lie about it. You can't have a healthy relationship with a girl like that. You just got to know the nature of the creature that you're dealing with. Like I said, this is why you date people. You date them for a long period of time to see if they're going to be honest consistently, to see if they're going to be loyal consistently. Because in every relationship, you're going to have ups and downs. Every guy is going to get complacent. It happens to me. It happens to all of us. You get busy, you get caught up in your life, your business. You stop doing the things that made you successful initially. And when you go through these periods, you see the true character and nature of the person that you're with. And when you see these kinds of behaviors, you know that this disqualifies her from girlfriend, relationship, or wife material. But hey, she's a great sex playmate, great fuck buddy. She's the type of girl that'll be, if she's happy, she'll be loyal. But if she's not happy, she's looking to see what else that she can get. And she doesn't mind deceiving you. I dated a woman like this. I wrote about a girl like this in my book. And no matter how much you want that to change or to be different, this is just the way they are. That's the reality of it. So if you'd like to get my help personally, the quickest way is to book a paid phone, Skype, or email coaching session. You can choose any of those options by going to my website, clicking the products tab at the top of your screen, and just follow the instructions for booking whatever option works best for you. And I will talk to you soon.